The problem with this Escape's wipers is, well, if you notice, the wipers are acting all stupid and out of sync. And usually the cause of this problem is either a bad wiper switch assembly, but more commonly is in fact the left side wiper motor. So to get access to the wiper motor, we actually have to remove the wiper arms both on the left and the right side. And you want to note the orientation of the wiper blades, right, and where they are in the windshield. And it's really important on the Escape because they have independent wiper motors for each side. So I'm just going to take like a little wax pen, and I'm just going to mark the relative position of the passenger side and the driver side wiper blades so that I put them back exactly how they came out. So got my little wax crayon here, and I'm just going to mark it right here, right? I'll mark it on both sides of the wiper blade just to make sure that I'm exact. And I'll do the same for the driver's side. Remove the wiper arms by popping off the little plastic cap right here. And then using our 15mm socket, we're going to undo. Just hold the arm here and just undo the wiper arm. Now they're not very tight, so it shouldn't take a lot of force. And then to remove it from the splines, it's easier just to push down on this wiper arm back and forth to relieve the pressure, and then very carefully lift it off. Don't mix up the sides because it can be super confusing to put them back on. So this is the passenger side, so we'll set it down on the ground, and we're going to repeat the same for the driver side. Now if you guys can see, we've got 8 clips. These little clips, you can just pop them out with a flat bladed screwdriver. We're just going to pry them forward. To release them. Now just lift up the cowl just to make sure that there's no other clips that might still be remaining. And then the cowl along the windshield line will actually have several pop clips as well. So the way to get them out without breaking things is to start off on just one end and then just pulling straight up. And you can actually feel them pop out. And along the windshield line, just carefully tug up to release the clips. Now this is the back side of the cover. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sort of little pop clips. If you pull straight up, they won't break. Here is a replacement wiper motor for this vehicle. It's even stamped with LH, which stands for left hand. And you can see here that's actually held in with 2 bolts. Now to take the motor out, just simply lift up and pull forward until it comes out. But don't pull out too far because you'll have to disconnect the electrical connector right here. Use a flat blade screwdriver. Lift that tab up and then carefully pull the connector off. Remove the motor. So there's a close-up of that little tab, and you just pry up to unhook it off of that, and it just comes right off. Failures on the driver's side motor are actually extremely common because there's a positioning sensor in this wiper motor that tells that body control module the relative position of the driver's side wipers, and then it communicates that to the right motor so that when the wipers wipe, the driver's side has to come up first before the right comes up, and that synchronization, right, occurs from essentially a positioning sensor in the driver's side motor. So replacement motor, this little rubber plug, right, slips onto the end of the mount. If it's missing one, then just transfer your original one onto the replacement motor, stick that on. And then if you look inside the cavity here, that square hole in the backside is where the wiper motor plugs in. Plug your motor back in until you hear it click. Slide that in and reinstall your bolts. Now just loosely install them in the meantime, because you need to align all the holes properly first, until things are just snug, hand tight. So I'm using a quarter drive ratchet, and I'm just literally using finger pressure just to snug up those bolts. So with the motor installed, we're actually going to turn the ignition to run, and we're going to turn on the wiper motors so that they actually actuate and then go back to their home position prior to reinstalling the wiper arms. Sometimes on auto wrecker motors especially, this position of the spindle may actually be out, and the worst case scenario is that, say, if the power was cut off while the wipers are in the up position and you reinstall them, that your wiper may inadvertently swing too far and then swipe right off the windshield. So we want to put it back into a home position, so to speak. So put your key into the ignition, put it to run, and then actuate the wiper motor. So ignition to run, turn the wipers on, then back to off, so now it's in home position. Now reinstall the cowl by lining up these clips to the holes in the windshield frame. You have to shift it back and forth, and you'll feel it just all fall into place. Snap it all in. Now, don't pound on the cowl, because I've seen that people actually break their windshields from hitting it too hard, and you don't want to do that. Now, before I install these clips, we're going to reinstall our wiper arms to make sure that everything's working properly first. Now, it's good practice to inspect the splines inside the wiper arms to make sure that they're not stripped or all corroded out, and do the same thing for the motor side. This vehicle is fairly new and fairly low miles, so these splines are in excellent condition. Going to line up our arm, and then where it sits on the windshield, relative positioning, right? And then we're gonna push down on the arm by the motor, and then using your fingers, you're just gonna kind of wobble this back and forth until it seats on the splines, and move the arm up and down a little bit while doing that, just to make sure it goes on properly. You can then take the 15mm nut, hold the arm, prevent it from rotating, and then just snug these up. They don't have to be crazy tight. And repeat the same for the driver's side. Moment of truth. We're going to test out the wipers. Magic. So as you guys can tell, the wipers do work properly, and when I shut off the car, that the wiper positioning on the windshield relative to the marks are pretty darn close. You can try to fine tune it if you want, but at the end of the day, the most important thing here is that they are close to your original marks, and the fact that the wipers are parallel. Again, emphasizing driver's side wiper sits on top of the passenger side wiper, and parallel is important. The final step here is to reinstall the caps on our wiper arms and slide the 8 clips back onto our cowl cover and call it a day. Now, if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and thanks for watching.